Hello, guys. Welcome back. Last episode, we talked about our top 10 favorite horror films of the 70s. Now we're looking at our top 10 horror films of the 80s. This one should be a really good one because there's so many choices to choose from. I'm your host, Metal Horror Gamer, and I'm with...
Hi, it's me, Mother Mischief.
So yeah, let's get into our top 10. And so my first one is 1980, The Shining. And this was just an iconic film. I love Jack Nicholson's acting in the film. Yeah. Some people who like the book say they don't like the film, but I know more people who like the movie than who care about the book. Not saying the book's bad because I never read it, but this movie is too iconic. I don't give a shit if Stephen King doesn't like the movie. The movie is a legendary horror film. Stanley Kubrick did an amazing job with it.
Yeah.
I love horror films that slowly build the tension up. I'm not the one who just needs constant jump scares and constant action. I like the slow building process of it. And that's why The Shining is the first one on my list.
Yeah.
And now you can go yours.
Mine is from 1980, Friday the 13th.
The original one?
Yes.
Okay.
Reason for this being is it always made me fear going to camp. Going to any camp, and I'm just like, nope, I'm not doing it because I've seen that horror movie. I was like, I'm not going to chance it.
Yeah.
Not going to do it. Get my ass safe. And then I think the only fun part is, seeing all the douchebags get killed.
So really, out of all the Friday 13 films, the part one's your favorite?
Well, I mean, I'm always a sucker for the first one.
Well, I can't because there's no Jason in that film, so it's like
it's his crazy ass mom.
To me, Jason is Friday the 13th, and without Jason,
she's all running around. Kill her.
I like the first one, but I don't like it nowhere near as much as some of the other ones. All right, my second on this list is 1981's An American Werewolf in London.
Oh, I love that movie.
You want to talk about great special effects?
Yes.
This movie has them. The werewolf scene alone is iconic.
Mm-hmm.
It's legendary. And it must have been hell to get that to work, and they pulled it off. It looks great. It's a very weird movie. Some parts are just like, that just came out of left field.
Yeah.
And it has some really funny moments in there. I love the soundtrack. I love the song "Bad Moon Rising."
Yeah.
And I just, it's a great film all ways around. It's just,
yeah.
It's got so many memorable lines that I can always recall constantly.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, that's my second pick. What's yours?
Mine is 1981, The Evil Dead.
Okay.
Come on. Ash, man. Not as his badass self, but yeah, I mean, when I first saw this movie is because, the only reason why I saw this movie is because I remember watching Army of Darkness before.
Yeah.
And then I saw Army of Darkness, and it was kind of, comedy. So when I saw this one, I was stupid, okay?
And we saw it together.
Yeah, we saw it together. Thought it was going to kind of be the same thing. And hell no, that was a completely different turn there. And it literally did scare the shit out of me. I mean, seeing the girl just sitting there fucking, all crazy and shit. And
yeah.
Everything else. And it was really something else that I had seen, especially from their effects aspect of it. I thought it was really cool. And I do have a really, deep appreciation for that movie.
Yeah. All right. Well, my third pick is same as yours. 1981's The Evil Dead.
How could you not?
The reason why, because one, it's amazing. It's an amazing film. Bruce Campbell does an amazing job as Ash here. He's not really the iconic, foul mouth, kicking ass, kind of Ash we know yet. But this is the first one, and I don't blame Ash for being scared of what's going on here. It's scary.
I would have put myself.
Everyone knows that I love horror films, and everyone who knows me knows that I don't get scared of horror films. This was the one movie that did it, mainly because the same reason why that you explained was that we saw Army of Darkness first, and I knew Evil Dead 2 had funny parts. I saw parts of it, so I knew. All right, so Evil Dead 1's probably gonna be just as funny as well. So let's get into it. So I let my guard down, and no, it was just fucking creepy and. It really got to me. I was like, holy shit. I was like, this is a fucking horrifying movie.
Yeah.
But in a good way. And, I love some of the the shots that he does, Sam Raimi does, is like,
I just love it.
How it's like when the point view of the camera, how it's going through the windows of the car and it goes to the doors, the house, and it's like that's just crazy filmmaking, and I love that. Nowadays you can do that with just crappy CGI, but the way they did it, that was real, and it must have been a bitch to figure out how to get those scenes to work correctly, and I applaud them for it. It looked great. It worked. It was just an amazing film all around. So
and another reason I never wanted to go near trees.
Yeah. So your next pick. Which one is this? Your third or your fourth one?
I think this is my third one.
Okay.
1982 Poltergeist.
Okay. So I like it so far. So far we're getting a different list here. So I don't mind.
Now, one of the reasons why I picked this movie is not only because it scared the crap out of me, because it's one of those haunted house type deals, but the reason for it is because, of course, they built their home on what used to be a graveyard.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm really superstitious about stuff like that. I'm like, hell no. Because I went to there was this elementary school I used to go to before, and that was built over a graveyard. So yeah, I was already freaking out there. But, I mean, what I really did like about that movie is, of course, towards the end when, you know, all those corpses start popping out of the ground and everything, and knowing that was actually real and not like fake props or whatever, but they actually took bodies and did that. I was just like, what? And I was just like, okay, swimming with corpses, I mean, that's a different thing. But yeah, I mean, that's one of those that I, you know, can respect someone doing, because I would not do that. But yeah, I mean, I just thought that movie was cool all the way around, but fuck the clown.
and the tree in that one too.
Oh yeah, another one. Screw that tree, man.
All right, my fourth pick. I'm still staying in 1981. We have Halloween 2. Yes. I had to go with the Halloween sequel. I love slasher films. It's my favorite genre of horror films, and I love Halloween. And so Halloween 2. If Halloween made my 70s list, Halloween 2 had to make my 80s list. And yeah, it's not as good as the first one. Even the theme song is not as good as it was the first one. But it's still a fun movie. I still love seeing Michael going through the hospital and just killing his horny people left and right and killing assholes left and right. And still seeing and hoping Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode can make it out, survive, and seeing Donald Pleasance still in there. And it's just a great movie all around. I love Halloween 2. Yeah. So what's your fourth pick?
Mine is 1982 The Entity.
Okay.
This one being that supposedly it was based on a true story, which is scary as hell, because all you really have is, you know, this demon or this demonic entity,
or
whatever it is, constantly raping this woman, and not just, you know, when she's alone, but yeah, that's just creepy. But I mean, even in front of her children in the movie, which is scary as hell, because you know there's really nothing you can do against it, and all, like, you just feel so helpless. I mean, that in itself is just scary.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. All right. Well, my fifth pick, I'm finally going to 1982, and we're looking at John Carpenter's The Thing. I love this film. I consider this film to probably be the best remake of a horror film ever. And not just because of the great acting, not because of the great director like John Carpenter, but the amazing, groundbreaking special effects. I mean, that movie still holds up to this day. It looks amazing still.
And one reason why I kept looking up at ceilings at times, too.
You know, I love this film, and I love how it plays. Like, especially with the first time you watch it, you don't know who is really who. Exactly. You don't know who the alien is. It just keeps you guessing the entire time. Now, sure, once you've seen it, you know, but it's still not any less enjoyable. Yeah. Obviously, I envy anyone who gets to watch it again for the first time not knowing, because that's a great feeling. And you just do not know
like, oh my God,
who the alien really is. It keeps you guessing. It keeps you paranoid. And it's just, it's just a great film. Kurt Russell is at his
Oh my
best
God,
in this
Kurt
film.
Russell, I don't care. He is so freaking hot.
It's an amazing film. I like the original, but the remake, John Carpenter's remake, is just a masterpiece at every level.
Wonderful masterpiece, yeah.
There's a reason why when you see the greatest horror remakes, this one's always
That
in the
one's
list.
in there.
It's
Yeah.
always in there. All right. So what's your fifth movie?
Ditto.
Ditto. The same one?
Yes. And
Right.
for all the reasons that you just said too. I mean, how could you not love this movie? I mean, poor dogs though.
Yeah, I know. That's the one thing I don't
Poor
like.
dogs.
Seeing the
I
poor
can't-
huskies get killed.
I know. I'm just like, and every time they just that scene when you just look at them, I'm like, oh my God, just please don't do that.
Yeah, you know, that's a great scene. Special
It's a
effects.
great scene.
I usually fast forward it because
Yeah,
I don't like
I don't
seeing the
wanna-
dogs get killed.
I love dogs. I can't see them get hurt.
All right, so my sixth pick is in 1984, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and we're going with the original one. Now I could have easily picked the third one, the Dream Warriors. That's a good film too,
I thought that was so cheesy though.
but that's part of the reason. It's a little bit more goofier, so I wanted to say let's just stick with the first one, not the second one. The second one's is like I say it's a gay film. I'm not saying to be like rude to say it's a gay film. It really is a gay film. And
Yeah.
that guy is obviously gay. And then you have the coach. He meets him in a gay bar, and then the coach
Oh my
gets his
God.
ass spanked to death. It's a gay. And then he's all dancing in the little.
oh yeah, when he's doing that little
part two's
dance.
part two's a really gay movie. And it really is for real.
That scene in the bedroom was so cringy.
But part one is a good film. I like the character. I like Nancy. You know, I like seeing them what they're going through. It's just a really solid slasher film. And yeah, I think later Freddie May became kind of a joke later on. Like he got kind of too silly in the later films. But the first one, he's a little silly there too, but not as silly as he was in later films. And yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street. It's a great movie. That was my sixth pick. What is your number 6 pick?
My number 6 pick is from 1985, The ReAnimator.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's a good one too.
Dude, that was to me a tripped out movie for a part of it. But the one scene that really got to me, and it is known and iconic for, is the head scene.
The head licking the girl.
Yes, I'm just like,
The
oh
head-
my God.
the head that's giving head.
That's giving head. And
That's a cool scene.
that's the most like coolest and most weird scenes ever in a fucking horror movie. And I'm just like, oh Lord. But yeah, that's, you know.
Yeah, ReAnimator is a really good film.
Yeah.
I had no problem with that one. See, I'm liking this, that our list is fairly different here, unlike our 70s list. Our 70s list was pretty the same movies back to back to back to back. 80s one's getting a little bit different here, which I like. So my 7th pick is 1985's Return of the Living Dead. This one, again, it's one of the best zombie films of all time. It's a horror comedy, but the horror is great. The special effects are great. The soundtrack is great, and the comedy is great. This is just an amazing film, and it's really a must-watch film if you love zombie films. This is like one of the best. A lot of people will cite Night of the Living Dead, and it is, but Return of the Living Dead is right up there with it. So yeah, with Return of the Living Dead, highly recommend it. You need to watch it if you haven't watched it yet. And it's an amazing film. So what's your number 7th pick?
Number 7 is 1986 Aliens.
Okay. Yeah.
Game over, man. Game over. No, but I mean, shoot, how could you just not like the Alien franchise? Is what I'm saying. I mean, it's sci-fi, it's monsters, it's everything that I pretty much love.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I do like the actors who were in there, and of course, the asshole being the asshole just wanted him to die. But I just love that movie.
All right. Well, my number 8 pick is 1986 Aliens as well. You know, most people say it's a sci-fi action film, while the first one is sci-fi horror, but I still consider this have horror parts in there because the alien's still scary. He's still killing people left and right. It's still technically a horror film. It's just more action in there, but it's still a great film by James Cameron. It's got, the iconic one-liners everywhere in this film. I mean, there's so many lines you can just call out left, right. And Sigourney Weaver still amazing at what she does.
Sigourney Weaver.
She's an awesome female character. She's just kicking aliens' ass left and right. Mm-hmm. I love the characters like Bishop. Bill Paxton's great in the movie as well.
I love Bill Paxton.
And it's just a fun movie with great special effects. And again, no CGI really. You don't need CGI to make a film look good. You can use practical effects, and they end up looking better in the long run. Aliens still looks amazing to this day. There's nothing wrong with it.
And and as a kid, I always wanted to be just as badass as her in the movie, as Sigourney Weaver, because I loved her. I still do.
All right, so what's your number 8 pick?
My number 8 is one of my most personal ones that I love. Is 1987 Hellraiser.
Okay.
A guy in, black leather type deal. Kind of hot.
He's bald. He's got shit popping out of his face.
I'm not picky.
What about the fat one?
Okay, no. I got standards, okay?
What about the one that looks like Nemesis? That chatterbox one?
He's going to bite my neck off. But I did like this movie because it taught me never play with shit that you don't know. But I thought it was pretty cool because, the effects in there, and of course the story that, what was she like, the mother or the stepmother? The stepmother.
It was her stepmom. Yeah.
How, she had this, fling going on with this other guy and everything else, and seeing how that went down towards the end.
She makes out with a guy with no skin, man.
Ew, that was so gross.
That's pretty gross.
But yeah, I mean, I think what I loved about this movie was the effects.
Yeah, the effects are really good. Like when that guy his body starts to rebuild.
Yeah, that was actually
that was really badass. That's a pretty cool film. Not a film for everybody, but it's still an iconic classic horror film. I think it's more sexual and gross than it is scary, but it is still a horror film.
And I find myself oddly turned on by it, which is really weird.
All right, so number 9 for me is 1986's Friday the 13th Part 6. Jason Lives.
Oh my god! I knew you were gonna be.
I knew you were gonna. It's my favorite Friday the 13th ever. It's the best one. It's got the best looking Jason. It's got, I think, the best cast. It's got the best soundtrack filled with Alice Cooper music.
Can't go wrong with Alice Cooper.
And it's just like, it has a lot of funny moments in there. It's just a really great slasher. It's really funny. I love this film. That's why I couldn't put the first one in there, because like Part 6 is my favorite one. And it's funny. People always go like, oh, you like Jason because it shows lots of tits and everything. Part 6 doesn't show none of it. It's my favorite one, and it doesn't show a single pair of tits in that film. And it's like, I find that strangely odd that my favorite one has no nudity. I mean, Part 4 has more nudity than Part 5. Part 6 has none. But Part 6 is just an amazing film. It's my favorite Jason design out of all of them. So yeah, that's my 9th pick. What's your number 9?
My number 9 is 1988 Child's Play.
Okay.
Simply because having dolls as a kid and then seeing Chucky, that's going to scare the hell out you. And simple as that. Having a doll come to life, because this other person put their spirit or whatever in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of creepy in itself. And, I felt so bad for this kid. I felt so bad for Andy.
Yeah.
Because all he wanted was a good guy doll to have and play with and everything else. And he gets some possessed looking asshole.
Yeah, his whole childhood gets ruined.
I know. I was just like, aww. But still a good movie. And I still found it funny. The first time I watched the movie, of course, when I was a kid, it scared the hell out of me. And then now that I watch it that I'm older, I just laugh at it because of how cheesy some of the stuff is. But it's still a good movie.
Okay. My number 10 is 1987's The Predator.
Yes.
How can I have aliens in here and not have Predator? Now again, just like Aliens, it's more seen as an action film, but it is a horror film because it is an unknown creature out there stalking this platoon and killing them left and right. One after the other, and it's just, and then you see him where he kills them, he skins them. It is pretty horrific. It's a great film, just like Aliens, filled with tons of one-liners. Arnold Schwarzenegger is like amazing in this film. I love the entire cast. I love the entire plot, and it's just the premise is genius, and the design on Predator, legendary. It's just it's a perfect film. So that was my last pick for the 80s top 10 favorite horror films. What is your number 10?
My last one, another personal favorite of mine, is also from 1988, Pumpkinhead.
Okay.
Come on. Love it. Not only because it's a sad story, the dad loses his son, he wants revenge and everything else, but seeing this, because, okay.
This is the story.
Yes, I was going to start singing it. I didn't. I held off. Love that song, though, because of it.
By the Misfits.
Yes. Love them. And, and it's funny because it always reminds, I don't know why, but I guess because of the Halloween special from Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
Where he's sitting in the pumpkin patch.
Looking for the great pumpkin.
Yeah, and I always imagine that
Pumpkinhead's
gonna pop out and just slaughter him. But I mean, it's one of the ones that I feel is a necessary must for me to watch during Halloween. But I know it may not be everybody's favorite, but to me, it's just, again, I love effects.
Yeah.
Love how it was done, and how when you actually find out that it was, the father, right? That
I think
was
so.
doing it. Yeah.
I don't remember too much of that one.
Kind of hazy right now, but yeah, to see that whole, thing with the necklace and everything else, and of course how you want this, but you end up having to take its place.
Yeah.
Was just, trippy in itself, but one of my personal favorites.
You know what? This is why I was more excited for the 80s one. We only had 3 of the same ones. and unlike the 70s, we had like 7 of the same ones, I think.
Yep.
Because we haven't seen, as I said, we haven't seen enough 70s films. But 80s films, there's so many horror films to choose from. 80s was like the golden age of horror films, really. Well, not really, but but it had so many of them. So there was so much to choose from. I figured our list was going to be very different.
Yeah.
And we had only 3 the same, which was a nice change from the 70s. Where there was just too much the same in the 70s.
Yeah.
So I like that the 80s ours were very different. And yeah, you have a good list. I have a good list. Pretty much you can't go wrong with pretty much any of these films. Any of the films of mine are all great. The films on hers all good. Is there anything on there that I wouldn't really recommend from the 80s? No. I mean, I like pretty much all of it. So I have no problem with her 80s list. She has no problem with mine, obviously.
Better not have a problem with mine.
So, one thing I didn't say in my 70s video, I should have told you guys, maybe list your favorite 70s films in that video. But this is the 80s one. Why don't you list in the comment your top 10 favorite 80s horror films? Because, I'm very curious to see what other films people like. In the 80s, there's so many horror films. No one's lists are going to be exactly the same.
Yeah.
Because there's just so many. Especially when you only limit yourself to one per franchise. Because like with Jason, with Friday 13th, you have like 8 choices to choose from. And Nightmare on Elm Street, you have like 6 of them maybe. These movies have so many options in the 80s. The 80s is just a great period for horror films. So yeah, let us know your top 10 in the comments. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, give us a like. If you want to see more horror videos or comic book videos or video game videos, subscribe. We're going to be doing a lot of that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll see you guys in our top 10 favorite 90s horror films. And so we'll see you guys next time.